I know, I know, I know. I need an overhead light. I need a bookshelf for my CDs because I'm sure you want to see what I got. And I'm trying to get things together. I just want to put that out there. Now it's time for the review. Hello one, hello all, it is the gothiest ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Squid-O Monolith. Squid is a UK band, and this is their second studio album off of the label Warp, and they are more of a, if I would say, like post-punk band, kind of art punky, kind of jazzy at times. They are post-punk. They are definitely that. And given how there has been so much competition within the genre, whether it be Black Midi, whether it be Shame, whether it be King Cruel, or whether it be Black Country New Road, there is definitely a lot to work with here. But that's not to say that I didn't see the potential there. I couldn't help but recognize the manic and very tastefully well-assembled amalgamation of David Byrne of Talking Heads, Isaac Brock of Modest Mouse, and how they had like a Gang of Four wire thing going on when it came to compositionally putting their songs together, and also a touch of In Rainbows from Radiohead, which does appear on this album as well. But given how they ran so low on ideas, it definitely led to an underwhelming listen. But now they're back. This album is 45 minutes, almost an hour, and it is definitely proven that they have honed their craft here. They have definitely honed the art of structure here. And that's not to say that they didn't before, but they are definitely more consistent here. They definitely know how to keep a track multifaceted, which they are no stranger to, but also keep it engaging as it goes on. On here, you're getting a lot of angular grooves on here. You're getting a lot of cacophony at points, and more intensity when it comes to the builds, and more tangible ambient moments. The opener, which is probably the most multi-layered track on here, that has these hypnotic keys as these weeping synths just wax and wane over the bass as it throbs in the mix with these pulsating synths underneath, with these danceable strummed guitar licks that has this super catchy refrain afterwards. To live inside the frame, and forget everything. I swing inside a dream. Yeah, it's insane. And that is one thing with this album. Like, the hook game has definitely improved here. These guys have definitely stepped it up when it comes to the hooks on this album. But I digress. It just transitions into these dark distorted guitars as these blaring horns just creep in, with this linear progression just going into this heavy distorted passage with these wailing horns. It's absolutely mind-bending. We next get Devil's Den with these fluttering woodwinds and this set of bass just going back and forth, going into these crashing drums as frontman Anton just screams his brains out all over this thing, with probably the most angular back end on this whole entire album, while the production goes absolutely manic, with Anton Piercing just going absolutely berserk here, sounding like a frantic yelpy version of David Byrne and Fred Schneider from the B-52s, in a good way. We get more In Rainbow's influence on the track Siphon, which I'm sure I'm butchering, which comes off kind of a leftover on the debut. The song Undergrowth, which is the longest song on here and probably the most anthemic hook on here. Agnomatic for the rest of my days, I'd rather melt. Very, very Isaac Brock here, with these fat repetitious bass lines, squealing guitars, and reverb sax and horns just like pacing channel to channel, and the crashing cymbals just going into these ambient tremolo passages. Sounds very alien, but in a characteristic way. It definitely brings the album more personality and definitely complements the track very well, especially with these weeping, bubbling keys just going over the track. And the synths on the back end just create like this very cinematic moment, but not in a blown out, overdone kind of way. It's not Imagine Dragons. We're not doing that shit here. And I love how the track just like vanishes with this wall of distortion and the horn just droning over. It kind of like feels like it's the end, but the horns add more drama and more feeling to the transition. It feels like I'm being transported to another dimension or something. Another thing I can't stress about this album is the sequencing. The sequencing, I think, is great. I think it definitely delivers an intro that's not too visceral, very in between, but always finds intricate ways to pull you in and also intricate ways to end it off. Like, it stays consistent, but it definitely doesn't become stale. They definitely find certain ways to keep you engaged with the track as it progresses. The Blades has like this jerky guitar groove that I absolutely love, with these laser-like synths popping in and out of the mix. And of course we gotta have the twinkly guitars. It would not be a Squid album without the twinkly guitar lines here. And I love like the striking guitar lines like in between. It definitely creates like a very rigid feel here that I absolutely love. And I love how Anton shows a lot of vocal versatility here, going from yelpy to harmonious. As the synths create like this windy-like feel, it's very odd the way they mixed it, but it definitely adds more of like a scene to it, like a story. Over what it sounds like cowbell banging in the background, I'm not exactly sure, but it sounds like cowbell, but it works. And I love how the horns like create like this ascending melody over the track. Like, they're so harmonized to a point where it sounds like they're singing. There could be maybe background vocal here, but I'm pretty sure it's horns, and I'm pretty sure the horns are creating this melody and harmony that sounds like a choir in a way. It's, again, mind-bending. And then takes us out with this ambient strummed passage where Anton is doing this half singing, half spoken word. Definitely a great ambient and soothing way to close out the track, if I say so myself. After the Flash is kind of a lull for me. It's not a terrible track, but I don't feel it progresses into much of anywhere. But I do think it sounds nice while it's on. I wouldn't dive out of my way to turn it off. It's just, I feel it could have used like some sort of build like these other tracks do. It definitely pales in comparison to the rest of the tracks on the album. Things do pick up though with the song Greenlight. The song is like so sporadic and manic and jazzy. It kind of reminds me of Black Midi and what they were doing on Hellfire. And we do get more repetition. That is one thing that these guys do, is they use repetition, but they don't do it in a lazy way. They do it in a very building crescendo way, which is one thing I could not get enough of on here, and one thing I could not say any more nice things about when it comes to this album. But I have to, because I'm a reviewer. And I love the driving sunburnt guitar lines along with these somber horns that follow along with it. In a way, it kind of reminds me of maybe Silver Jews or The Strokes. It's definitely around that ballpark. But then as it progresses, it gets more cacophonous with these intense walls of horns and bass just ascending over the track, just towering over the track, as Anton is adamantly asking, "Oh, what do I want from you?" And the closer with the longest title on here that I will not say. You're gonna have to go into the favorite tracks in the D-box. Yeah. Starts with this slint-like guitar-strummed intro with these twinkling keys coalescing with the horns really nicely. And definitely their most theatrical and definitely their most climactic build yet that I've heard them do so far. With these chants that kind of build in each passage as the track progresses, with these beautiful synths just glistening over the track. And I love how the refrains and the horns just coalesce and just soar over the track beautifully. And I love how the vocals and the bass line and the way the bright horns just soar along with the choral vocals is absolutely stunning. And the bass line with the chanted vocals, this time like they're basically going up there. Like everything has reached a crescendo at this point, and everything just comes to a absolutely dramatic finish, and definitely their most dramatic finish by far. So yeah, overall, I love this album. I do feel there were a few tracks, just a few that dragged a little bit, but they have definitely tightened up. Their hooks are certainly memorable now. They have definitely found intricate and compelling ways to keep you engaged as the track progresses. They have definitely learned how to multifacet their tracks without being stale. And I'm really satisfied with this evolution here. It's focused, but it doesn't run itself into a corner. And yeah, I mean, I wish it was longer, sure, but overall I think it's still great. I'm feeling a 4, the blackest 4 out of 5 on this album. But what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Squid, oh Monolith, till we meet again.